Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is exactly 9:40 a.m. South African time. We'll be crossing over to Germany to talk to San Lwin. He's an activist, and we're going to be looking at the issue regarding foreign ministers from the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations having agreed to bar Myanmar's ruling generals from the group's meeting until they make progress on a 15-month-old plan to address the crises triggered by the military coup. Assalamu alaikum to you, San Lwin. Welcome to the program. And does this then mean progress as far as the rights of the Rohingya people are concerned? Or does this just only deal with the situation regarding the coup in Myanmar?
Well, walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks so much for having me here today. So, in regard to this ASEAN 5-point consensus, it has been almost 16 months now. The military junta hasn't made any progress yet. In regard to your question, it is regard to the entire population in Myanmar. So Rohingya, since the Rohingya is the part of Myanmar, this is also for the Rohingya, because the situation need to be changed in Myanmar. Then the situation of the Rohingya also can be changed. Under this military regime, nothing will change. So they are the main perpetrator of the Rohingya genocide, and the same military since the coup committing the crime against humanity against the entire population in Myanmar, more than 50 million people. So the ASEAN didn't give them the deadline. So the military junta has been pulling the time now almost in 16 months now. So now the ASEAN is going to pressure. This is the big pressure since the foreign minister, this junta appointed foreign minister was banned to attend any meeting, any ASEAN meeting, and also the junta, the coup leader was not allowed to join the ASEAN summit. And now what the ASEAN is asking is to send the non-political officer, but the junta didn't send. So in coming November, they will have the ASEAN summit where in which they will decide what they are going to take the action against the military junta. So the Malaysia is very supportive, especially the Malaysian foreign minister, this Saifuddin. He joined with us a week ago when we had the panel discussion for the for democracy activists executed by the military junta. So he was very outspoken. The Malaysia is very supportive. So what they are considering is to suspend the ASEAN membership. So if they are not going to make any progress, there will be some consequence from the ASEAN, but still it will be not effective because the junta is used to with this isolation. They have been ruling the country since 1962. Only, in the past 5 years until the 2021, there was the civilian government that was also under the leadership of the military. So they are used to with this isolation. I think even that if they got the pressure from the ASEAN, they are not going to change. We really need the serious intervention or to support the Spring Revolution, that the people are on the ground fighting against the military. So either support the revolution or they take the serious action.
San Lwin is activist and co-founder of the Free Rohingya Coalition based in Germany. San, do you truly believe that we know that Aung Suu was unable to change the position or to do anything at all to change the situation of the Rohingya people? And now you have the coup leader who's running the country. The situation of the Rohingya people has yet not changed. If anything, their situation has deteriorated further. What, you know, when we look at the ASEAN summit, for example, despite the amount of pressure they put on Myanmar, I'm kind of wondering, will the situation change at all for the Rohingya people?
Well, you all know that Aung San Suu Kyi went to The Hague and defended the military and dismissed the genocide. So we have no any hope in her. She is now jailed and she has been sent to the special place inside the Naypyidaw jail. Before that, she was under house arrest. The military charged her with the several cases. I think she will be punished. She will be sentenced to like uh, at least 100 years. So now the people, especially the young people, are leading the revolution. If they come into the power, and of course, you know that the so-called exile government, but this government has the people mandate. This has the full support by the majority of the people in Myanmar. It's called the National Unity Government. There, the position is much better than the ousted government. Although the people are the same, they start calling us the Rohingya. Before that, they were calling us Bengali. So they also promised that they will secure us the citizenship, but they still need to walk a lot to abolish the 1982 citizenship law, of which barred the Rohingya to become the citizen, and also to assure that the Rohingya are one of the ethnic group. So if this government and the people, if they come to the power, I hope the situation of the Rohingya will change. But if the military regime remain in the power, we will not have any hope. And the remaining 600,000 Rohingya are still in risk. As long as this military is ruling the country, we will have the risk. And the military is now talking about the repatriation of the more than a million Rohingya refugee in Bangladesh. But I'm not sure whether all the people will come back, because the military is not promising anything related to the Rohingya right, like citizenship right, ethnic right to return to their original village, and also reparation and all the freedom of movement. They haven't promised anything yet. That China is also brokering this deal, but as long as if there is no any promise from the military regime, I think the majority of the people will not go back, but a few people will go back because they don't want to stay in this refugee camp. It has been already 5 years now. The situation is very dire, and they have no freedom of movement, and also the Russian distributing by the INGOs are very limited, and also there is no education for the children. The children are growing every day. There is also the new birth. So these things are really making the people very upset, and some of them are saying even the military is not offering us any right. We will go back to our homeland will be much better than the refugee camp. Some, I'm not saying all the people, but some are in very desperate situation. They are thinking that. So in conclusion, uh, uh, all we need is to try to take down this military dictatorship once and for all. Then the situation will change for the Rohingya, and also for the other ethnic minority who has been suffering for decades. And also we can bring the democracy in Myanmar. Everyone will have the freedom. And if now the people, after the coup, majority of the people realize that military has been wrongdoing against the Rohingya, many apologize. I think something, at least a lot of things will change, if the people can take back the power.
Are you hopeful? My final question, and if you can keep it brief, please. Are you hopeful that the pressure by the ASEAN membership people that are affiliated, the different countries affiliated to make up the ASEAN summit. Are you hopeful that they would be able to put pressure on the coup leaders to effect change in Myanmar? And will it truly change the position of the Rohingya? How long do you believe this will take in being implemented?
Well, ASEAN, even ASEAN suspend the Myanmar membership, I think the situation will not change. If the individual country like Singapore and the other country, if they are dealing individually, it will not work. They have to punish seriously, like they have to cut off all the tie with the military junta, like the diplomatic, economically, every they have to cut off all the tie. Then the military will feel the pressure. For the Rohingya, I don't think by the ASEAN pressure it will not work unless there is serious, like as I told you earlier, they cut off all the tie. For the Rohingya, only if the civilian government come to the power, the situation will really change. Otherwise, I have no hope to change the Rohingya situation at all.
Our duas are with you and the Rohingya people. San Lwin, um, talking to us from Germany, an activist holding up the flag for the freedom of the Rohingya people. Thank you indeed for your time and your comments on the show this morning. It is 9:52 a.m. South African time. We move on to the final interview for the morning, and that is with Mama Lofi Shakira Sehume, who was a co-host of the Common Space right here on Salam Media. She is one of our ambassadors for Women's Month, so stand by for that interview, and then you can join her for a 2-hour interview right here on Salam Media at 11 o'clock exactly. Excuse me, I just had a frog in my throat. It's now 9:52 a.m. News and views on Salam Media.